In this video, we're going to go through the upper block science, which is for P5 and P6, the module of systems, looking at cells and some sample examination questions that have appeared in past year exam papers before. The diagram below shows a plant. That's the shoot, and this is the root. So the following cells A and B were taken from two different parts of the plant, which are labeled above, A and B. In the table below, identify and write down the cells. Alright, so first of all, for an onion, this is your soil. Alright, this is your soil, and this is underneath the soil, which is called the root. This is actually the stem, and this is the shoot of the onion plant. So the following cells A and B were taken from two parts of the plant, which are labeled above. So A and B taken from either the shoot or the root. The difference between the two plants, if they both have cell wall, right, that's the same. The difference is actually this one, alright, this is chloroplast. So cell B has chloroplast, but cell A does not have chloroplast. So without even looking at the question, I roughly know cell B must be here, because cell B is exposed to the sunlight. Right, cell B is exposed to the sunlight and it has chloroplast to make food for the plant. Whereas cell A, because it's under the ground, is not exposed, therefore it is not cell A. It will not have chloroplast because it cannot make food. So in the table below, which part of the plant? So cell B is from the shoot and cell A is from the root. Alright, because the reason is because the shoot is exposed to sun, all right, and it needs to photosynthesize to make food. All right, so that's the that is how you answer this question, because it's exposed to the sun. It needs the chloroplast. Oh wait, I forgot to write that. It has chloroplast, which allows it to photosynthesize to make food. The root is not exposed to the sun, and therefore it does not have chloroplasts because it does not make food. Alright, so look at this. So so shoot is actually cell B because it has chloroplast. All this are your chloroplast, and it needs a chloroplast because it's exposed to the sun, and the chloroplast will photosynthesize to make food, to trap light and make food. And root is not exposed to the sun, so it does not have the chloroplast, so it does not make food. Okay, so whatever is exposed to the sun, this is what you need to learn from this question. Whatever is exposed to sun will have chloroplasts. Whatever that's not exposed, which is usually the roots are not exposed, no chloroplasts. That's the key thing you need to learn from this question. Ahmad observed two cells under a microscope and he recorded his observations in the table below. A tick showed the part the cell has. So cell X has nucleus, cell wall, chloroplast, cytoplasm. So cell wall and chloroplast, only Y has. So Y, I will know, is a plant cell because it has cell wall and chloroplast. And cell X is probably an animal cell. So which of the following statements is correct? Cell X can make food but cell Y cannot. That's not correct. Cell Y can make food because it has chloroplast. Okay, so with chloroplast it can make food. Cell X can trap light energy but cell Y cannot. So that's not true. It's the other side, the other way, which is cell Y can trap light energy. Cell Y has a regular shape, but cell X does not. This is correct. It has a regular shape because of the cell wall. The cell wall gives you a regular shape. Cell X and Y could have been taken from the leaves of different plants. This one is not correct, because if you take from the leaf, you would see that if it's a plant cell, it will have cell wall and chloroplast. So the answer is number 3. And you must be able to tell that this is an animal cell because there's nucleus and it doesn't have cell wall and chloroplast. Study the 3 different cells below. All right, so this is a animal cell. This is a root cell because the long hair here, or the long extended part, is for them to absorb water and mineral salts. It's trying to like find water and mineral salts. And this is a plant cell, a typical plant cell. So it can be from the leaves, it can be from, this is your chloroplast, and this is your cell wall. Which of the following statement is true about all 3 cells? They are all plant cells. Not true. This is probably an animal cell. This is a plant cell. This is a plant cell. They have chloroplasts. Not true. Only this cell has chloroplasts. Each cell has nucleus and cell wall. Not true. They all have nucleus. This is the nucleus, nucleus, and the nucleus. But only this cell got cell wall. Every cell has nucleus and cell membrane. That's right. So they all got cell nucleus. This is the cell membrane. This is the cell membrane. And the one inside, there are 2 lines here. The one inside is the cell membrane. Alright, so the answer is number 4. Aziz found a single cell organism, organism Z, in a freshwater pond. The diagram below shows how organism Z looks under the microscope. So it's a tail, it's a cytoplasm, it's a chloroplast, cell membrane, nucleus. Alright, this is a single celled organism. So interestingly, it has chloroplast, so it can actually make food for itself. Alright. Cell membrane, nucleus. So nucleus, it can think, it can the nucleus can control the cell, alright, and ask the cell to do things. Aziz concluded that organism Z does not need to feed on other organisms. Do you agree? Yes, I agree. Why do you agree with him? Alright, so remember, if you want to explain your answer, there's always a beginning and an end. So the end is explain why it does not feed, right? So does not feed. So why it does not feed? Because it has chloroplasts. So what if it has chloroplasts? It can trap light. So what if it can trap light? It can make food for itself, and therefore, so what? Therefore, it does not need to feed on other organisms. Right? So you need to have this whole logic chain that gives you the final state. State 1, part of a typical plant cell that is not present in organism Z. So a typical plant cell is actually the cell wall. Alright, so that's the typical part of a plant cell. The other typical part is the chloroplast. So it has the chloroplast. When Aziz cut away the tail, he observed that a new tail started to form over here. How is it possible for organism Z to form new tail? So anything new that you form, new tail, lizard form new tail. What else? Body heal itself. Anything to do that with like healing yourself, right? It's always the nucleus, because there is so form new tail. So explain how is it possible to form a new tail. So again, the last thing is form new tail. Alright. So that's the final state. The first state is the cell has a nucleus, which, so what if it has a nucleus? Controls the cell's activities. So what if it controls the cell's activities? Tell the cells to divide and repair. Divide and repair the damaged part. Alright, so basically there's a brain in this cell which tells the cell to divide and repair the damaged part, and therefore you can form a new tail. Alright, so this is the final state that you need to know. Diagram below shows a plant cell. This is the cell wall, chloroplast, cell membrane is over here. This is the nucleus. Alright, so in which part of the cell is sugar made? Sugar is basically the food that is made by the cell. So it's the chloroplast, which is R, number 1. Study the diagram below. The arrows show the movement of mineral salts into a plant cell. So this is the root cell. Alright, Which of the following show the correct order of the parts the mineral salts have to pass through? So there will be a cell wall on the outside, which gives it its shape, and the inside layer is actually the cell membrane. And then this itsy bitsy dots over here is the cytoplasm. And finally, the one inside here is the cell sap. Alright, so to reach the center of the cell, let's go through the cell wall, cell membrane, cytoplasm, and then the cell sap. Let's take a look at the answers. So first is cell wall, then cell membrane. Next, after the cell membrane is the cytoplasm, which is a spongy thing inside here. This one, right? That's the spongy thing. So that's the cytoplasm, and then finally cell sap. Cell sap is this middle part. Okay, that's the cell sap. So the answer is number 2. Kate viewed the following cells under a microscope. So this is a plant cell. Okay, plant cell. Why I know it's a plant cell? Because there's a cell wall. There's a cell wall. You have your chloroplast. You have your cell sap. You have your cytoplasm. You have your nucleus. This is an animal cell. You have a cell membrane over here, nucleus. This is your cytoplasm. This is also a plant cell. You have your chloroplast and your nucleus and your cell sap. And this is your brain cell. Alright. So this is your brain cell because all this will link to other brain cells. So which ones are plant cells? It's actually P and R, because they have the cell wall that gives it its regular shape. So it's P and R, number 2. Which of the following correctly shows the functions of the parts of a cell? So nucleus gives the cell its regular shape. No, not true. Cell wall gives the cell its regular shape. Alright. Nucleus control the activities in the cell. Control the activities in the cell. This is not correct. This is not correct. Cell wall doesn't control the material. It gives the cell the shape. Cell membrane is the one that controls the materials from moving in and out. So this is not true. This is not true. This is not true. So answer is number 2. The table below provides some information about 3 cells P, Q, and R. A tick indicates the presence of the part of one of the cells. So this one has chloroplasts. Alright, so therefore this must be a plant cell. There's nucleus, cell wall, and cell membrane. It has cell wall, so this must be a root cell because it doesn't have chloroplast. It's not exposed to the sun. Cell R has nucleus and cell membrane, no cell wall, so this must be an animal cell. Alright, so write down your analysis first before looking at the question. Based on the table, name the common parts found in the cells P, Q, and R. The common part is actually the nucleus. Alright, N-U-C-L-E-U-S, nucleus. Which cell P, Q, or R can make food for a plant? So only cell Q can make food. So explain your answer. So again, can make food, right? So the last statement is can make food. Alright, so there must be certain logical thing. So cell Q has chloroplast. Again, chloroplast can trap light. I just did this just now, right? Can trap light, and it can photosynthesize, and it can finally, so after photosynthesize, it can make food. Alright, so that's why cell Q can make food, but then the rest cannot make food because they don't have chloroplast. Oh, actually there's one more. Chloroplast contains chlorophyll. Alright, so chloroplast has chlorophyll. Chlorophyll trap light, and chlorophyll can photosynthesize, and it can make food. The diagram below shows a cell from the leaf of a plant. So it's a leaf and it's a plant cell. Therefore, there must be a cell wall. Again, analyze before you look at the question. B is chloroplast. C is cell membrane. I'm starting to feel repetitive. Alright, I hope you too. D is cytoplasm, all right, where cell activities take place. So which are labeled correctly? Let's take a look. So A is the cell wall. So A is cell wall. So this is correct. B is chloroplast. C is cell membrane. D is cytoplasm. Okay. So answer is number 3. Please go and remember your plant cells and animal cells. Go and draw it out. Make sure you can draw out your plant cells and your animal cells. All right. And tell me say what's the difference between them.